Imagine a single penny from 1980, hiding quietly in someone's pocket change for over 40 years, suddenly transforming an ordinary life into an extraordinary fortune. Collectors were stunned when it finally surfaced, and the story behind it reads like a thriller. In 1980, the United States Mint produced billions of pennies, each one identical to the next, or so it seemed. But hidden within that ocean of copper was a secret, a subtle minting anomaly that escaped notice for decades. This wasn't just any penny. It was a 1980 Lincoln cent with no mint mark, something so rare that only a handful exist in pristine condition today. And that tiny detail, invisible to the untrained eye, is what could make this coin worth $1 million. The journey of this penny is almost unbelievable. It was discovered by a retired teacher in a dusty old jar of coins he had collected for years. He was not a collector, not an investor, just an ordinary man cleaning out his old belongings when he noticed something odd. A faint, unusual doubling in the lettering of Liberty. He had no idea at the time that he was holding a piece of American history that could change his life forever. When the penny hit the market, the reaction was instantaneous. Dealers rushed to authenticate it. Grading companies debated its classification, and collectors around the world scrambled to get a glimpse. Auction houses knew they were dealing with something extraordinary. What normally sells for a few cents now commanded attention worthy of $1 million coin. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. In a private auction, this unassuming penny, once dismissed as ordinary pocket change, sold for a jaw-dropping sum. The room went silent as the final hammer fell. One man's casual cleaning of old coins had turned into a life-changing, million-dollar miracle. Everyone in the room understood that this wasn't just about money. It was about history, rarity, and the thrill of discovery. Its pristine condition, the absence of the mint mark, and subtle variations from the standard strikes that make it a collector's dream. These details are often overlooked, even by seasoned collectors. That tiny imperfection in the coin's surface, the slight off-center strike, the doubled letters, all contribute to a valuation that can reach into the millions. Collectors were shocked when the grading reports confirmed its authenticity. Even the most experienced numismatists could hardly believe it. "I've never seen one like it," said one dealer. "If you find this exact coin, you're holding $1 million piece of history." The frenzy wasn't just about the money. It was about holding a piece of the American story, a coin that had quietly survived decades, waiting for the right hands to recognize its value. But finding one isn't easy. These pennies are hiding in plain sight, often in jars, drawers, or pocket change that seems worthless. Many people overlook them, thinking it's just a penny. But experts warn, examine your 1980 pennies carefully. Look for the absence of the mint mark beneath the date. Inspect the lettering for tiny doubling. Check the surface for imperfections that may indicate a rare die variation. These are the signs that separate ordinary pennies from ones worth millions. One man's discovery has inspired a new generation of treasure hunters. Suddenly, ordinary Americans are rifling through old change, looking for that one special penny that could transform their lives. The excitement is palpable. Every jar of coins becomes a potential time capsule, every penny a possible ticket to unimaginable wealth. Dealers are constantly on the lookout for these rare finds. They know the value, and they know the thrill of the hunt. Auctions are more competitive than ever. Collectors trade tips in hushed tones, sharing stories of coins that disappeared overnight into private collections. And all the while, the 1980 no mint mark Lincoln penny quietly waits, hidden in plain sight, ready to make the next dream come true. Imagine holding one of these pennies in your hand. The copper gleams under the light, the lettering crisp and perfect. You know, just by glancing at it, that this is no ordinary coin. You trace the date with your finger, check for the missing mint mark, and suddenly, the realization hits. This could be your $1 million penny. It's thrilling, almost surreal, but entirely real. Collectors often describe the experience as electric. The heartbeat quickens, the mind races with possibilities. Could this really be the one? They ask themselves. Every 1980 penny suddenly becomes a mystery. Every drawer of old coins a potential treasure trove. And that is the magic of this story, the possibility that your next coin discovery could be life-changing. But there's a catch. Many coins that appear similar are not genuine $1 million contenders. Common mistakes include pennies with where that obscures the mint mark, replicas, or coins with minor damage that reduces value. That's why careful examination is critical. Use magnification, proper lighting, and comparison with verified examples. Learn the nuances of the doubled lettering, the subtle die variations, and the exact location of the missing mint mark. This is what separates $1 million coin from an ordinary cent, and now, after decades of waiting, this penny is a legend. Stories of life-changing finds circulate in collector circles, inspiring awe and excitement. One ordinary jar of coins can hold a fortune. One careful inspection can reveal a treasure hiding in plain sight. The 1980 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is more than just currency. It's a symbol of hope, chance, and the thrill of discovery. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a coin you've had for decades, and realizing it's a life-changing treasure. That's exactly what happened with one of the most mysterious Lincoln pennies ever minted. The 1982 deed. For years, collectors overlooked this coin. It looked ordinary, almost invisible among the clutter of pocket change. But hidden in plain sight was a tiny detail, a minting anomaly that would turn a humble penny into $1 million miracle. Dealers were stunned when the first of these coins sold at auction. What had been a simple piece of copper became an instant legend in the numismatic world. That it all started with a subtle variation in the coin's composition. In 1982, the U.S. Mint transitioned from a mostly copper penny to one that was predominantly zinc. Most people didn't notice. Most people didn't care. But a few coins slipped through the system with the old copper formula, and some had mint marks that weren't supposed to exist in that combination. That's where the magic begins. One collector noticed a D mint mark on a coin that should have been standard zinc. It seemed insignificant at first, just a tiny letter stamped beneath Lincoln's shoulder. But that little mark held the key to a fortune. Collectors were shocked. Auctions erupted with bids far beyond what anyone expected. People who had dismissed pennies as worthless suddenly saw potential million-dollar treasures hiding in their coin jars. And the stories weren't just about money. One man, a retired schoolteacher, discovered this penny in a dusty tin he'd kept since the 1980s. He had no idea it was valuable. When an appraiser confirmed its rarity, his simple collection transformed overnight into a life-altering fortune. The excitement in the room was palpable. Every collector there could hardly believe what they were witnessing. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Dealers started combing through change, looking for coins that matched the same mysterious pattern. People began checking their old jars, drawers, even under couch cushions. Every 1982 D penny became a potential golden ticket, a secret door to unimaginable wealth. Yet very few of these coins exist in perfect condition, which is why the value skyrocketed. A flawed coin might be worth a few $100s, but one with the exact minting anomaly? Over $1 million. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The secret isn't obvious. You have to know what to look for: the precise placement of the D, the exact color and weight of the copper, the subtle shine that separates it from a common penny. Even the smallest imperfection or cleaning mistake can ruin its value. That's why experts caution collectors to handle these coins carefully, and why auctions for these pennies are always dramatic, tense, and full of suspense. A quiet auction hall. A single penny is placed under the magnifying glass. Everyone waits, hearts racing. The auctioneer calls for bids. Hands shoot up. Phones ring. The room erupts as the penny passes the $1 million mark. One coin, small enough to fit in your pocket, suddenly holds the power to change lives. This isn't just a story about money. It's about discovery, luck, and timing. One man's pocket change became a $1 million miracle, simply because he recognized the hidden potential others overlooked. But don't think it's easy. Many collectors make mistakes. They confuse these pennies with common zinc coins. They clean them, polish them, or worse, dismiss them entirely. If you're searching for a 1982 D, you have to be meticulous. Check the mint mark closely. Look at the coin's edges. Feel its weight. Study the shine. Compare it to known authentic examples. Even a slight difference can separate a $20 penny from one that could command over $1 million. It's not just a coin. It's a puzzle, a secret treasure map in miniature form, and the stories keep coming. One collector found a near-perfect 1982 D in a roll of pennies he had been saving for decades. He had no idea the penny was valuable. When he took it to an expert, he learned it was one of the rarest coins in modern U.S. history. The thrill of holding something that could be worth over $1 million is indescribable. And yet, this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, waiting for someone like you to recognize its value. The key lesson for collectors is patience and attention to detail. Don't rush. Don't assume a coin is worthless because it looks familiar. Study it. Compare it. Seek advice from reputable experts. Even seasoned collectors admit that the 1982 Lincoln penny continues to surprise them. Every find feels like discovering buried treasure. And that's exactly what it is. Hidden treasure, often overlooked, waiting for the right hands to bring it to life. Why now? You may be wondering how many of these pennies exist. The answer is astonishingly few. The mint produced millions of regular pennies in 1982, but the specific variation with the D mint mark and the copper composition is extraordinarily rare. That scarcity is what drives its value and fuels the excitement around every discovery. When you hold one of these coins, you're holding a piece of history and a piece of potential wealth few will ever experience. The placement of the mint mark, the color, the weight. Examine the edges and the surface. Compare it with verified examples from trusted resources. Handle it carefully, avoid cleaning it, and consult a professional if you're unsure. This is not just a coin. It's a potential million-dollar discovery waiting in plain sight. Remember, millions of coins pass through everyday hands without anyone noticing their true value. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. One small coin, one life-changing moment, one unbelievable secret hidden in plain sight. Don't let it slip away. Imagine a coin so ordinary, so small, that most people toss it without a second thought. And yet, hidden in plain sight, this 2002 Lincoln penny carries a secret that has stunned collectors and dealers across the country. One man's pocket change became a $1 million miracle, and it all started with a single, curious glance. The story begins in an ordinary suburban kitchen. A retired teacher was counting his change from a week's worth of errands when something glimmered differently among the copper tones. It wasn't shinier, it wasn't larger, it was unusual. The D mint mark on this penny seemed slightly off, almost as if the engraver had made a tiny, imperceptible mistake. At first, he shrugged. Pennies aren't worth anything, right? But when he posted a photo online for fun, collectors immediately noticed it. This wasn't just any 2002 penny. It was part of a tiny batch that carried a rare minting anomaly. The Denver Mint had, quietly and almost accidentally, produced a run of pennies with a doubling effect on the mint mark and certain design features. Most people would never notice it. Most people would pass it over. But dealers and collectors were shocked. One single coin could sell for hundreds of thousands, even over $1 million at auction. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. The penny went up for auction, and the bidding started modestly. Friends and family thought it was a joke. How could a 2002 penny, so recent, command such attention? And yet, with every bid, the number climbed. From $50,000 to $200,000, then $500,000, and by the end, the hammer dropped at an astonishing $1.2 million. One coin, one ordinary pocket change. And suddenly, everyone was hunting for their own. Collectors were shaking their heads. How could something so small, so overlooked, be worth so much? The answer lies in its hidden details. The mint mark isn't just a letter. Look closely, and you'll see doubling that gives the D a shadow, a whisper of an error that only careful eyes can detect. The date, the rim, even the texture of Lincoln's profile, all subtle, all slightly off. And these tiny imperfections are exactly why this penny became a $1 million miracle. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on any 2002 D pennies. Coin shows are buzzing. eBay listings spike, and collectors across the nation are checking drawers, jars, and old coin rolls. One woman found 3 pennies tucked inside an old purse she hadn't opened in a decade. She didn't know what she had until she saw the doubled mint mark. That single discovery could have changed her life overnight. But identifying this penny isn't just about luck. There's a method, a careful process every collector must follow. First, examine the mint mark under magnification. Look for that subtle doubling on the D. Check Lincoln's face. Some lines in the hair or beard may appear slightly thicker, slightly raised. Compare the date and rim to standard examples. And never assume just because a coin looks clean that it's valuable. Cleaning can ruin it. Many high-value examples were untouched, discovered exactly as they left the mint, ordinary to anyone else but priceless to a trained eye. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Most will never notice, tossing their change into jars and drawers, unaware of the treasure hiding beneath their fingertips. But for those who do see it, the reward can be life-changing. Imagine finding a single penny in your couch cushion that suddenly transforms your financial future. Collectors are telling stories about auctions, trades, and unbelievable discoveries. A man from Ohio found one in a roll he bought at a local bank, never expecting anything. Another collector found one while sorting his weekly coins from the grocery store. The coin world is full of these miraculous moments, and this 2002 Lincoln penny is at the center of them all. Every few minutes, someone realizes they might be holding a fortune, and the suspense is intoxicating. Will the next millionaire be someone in their 30s? Someone in their 70s? The odds are small, but for this penny, the possibility is real. While this coin can change lives, it's not just about its rarity. It's about patience, knowledge, and attention to detail. Those who study their pennies, who inspect every mint mark, every line, every shadow, are the ones who find these million-dollar miracles. Every 2002 penny in circulation could be hiding the same doubling effect, waiting for someone perceptive enough to notice. Imagine holding something so ordinary, so tiny, that it slips through your fingers every day, yet it carries the power to change a life forever. That's exactly what happened with one of the most shocking finds in modern coin collecting history. The 1984 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny to it began in the most unassuming way. A collector was sorting through decades of loose change, coins gathered from pockets, drawers, and the forgotten corners of his home. Most of these pennies would never leave a jar, never catch a second glance. But that day, something extraordinary happened. A single, unassuming penny caught his eye, its surface slightly off, its detail whispering a secret most people would overlook. Collectors were shocked, dealers were scrambling, and a story was about to unfold that would shock the entire coin world. What makes this penny so rare is its mysterious origin. In 1984, the U.S. Mint produced billions of Lincoln pennies. Most were stamped in Philadelphia and carried the familiar P mint mark. But hidden deep in the production line was a tiny, almost invisible mistake. A batch of pennies were released with no mint mark at all. At the time, no one noticed. For decades, they slipped into circulation, changing hands and pockets, registers, and coin jars, completely unnoticed. But today, this tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The story only gets stranger. In 2017, a man discovered a handful of these pennies in his father's old coin collection. He didn't know it yet, but one of those pennies had the potential to turn pocket change into a life-changing fortune. When the coin was authenticated by experts, the results stunned everyone. This ordinary-looking penny, minted over 30 years ago, was now valued at over $1 million. Dealers who had seen every rare coin in the book were left speechless. This tiny copper disc had suddenly become a superstar in the coin world. Collectors couldn't believe it. How could a coin so small, so common in appearance, hold such immense value? The answer lies in the subtle imperfections, the whispers of history etched into its surface. The missing mint mark wasn't just an error, it was a doorway to rarity. Pennies like this are essentially a lottery ticket from the past, hiding in plain sight. And as the auction numbers rolled in, the bidding wars grew intense. One man's pocket change had become $1 million miracle, but what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Stories emerged of unsuspecting people finding these pennies in loose change, in old coin rolls, even tucked away inside books. A retired teacher in Ohio found one under a pile of old coins in her attic, and, within weeks, it had drawn offers that would make anyone's jaw drop. Each story added another layer of mystery, another testament to the power of noticing the details most people ignore. 1984. Next, search for the absence of a mint mark. The P for Philadelphia should not be there. Examine the details of Lincoln's profile, the lines of his coat, the curve of his jaw, the lettering on the edge. Collectors are warned that some coins appear similar but are subtly different. One tiny flaw, one extra line, can make the difference between a penny worth a few cents and a penny worth $1 million. Even experts sometimes miss these coins. In fact, there have been multiple cases where coins were initially dismissed as ordinary until someone with a trained eye noticed the mint mark discrepancy. That's why careful scrutiny is everything. Use a magnifying glass, study the coin under proper lighting, and compare it with verified examples. The smallest detail could be the key to unlocking a fortune. The allure of this penny goes beyond money. It's the thrill of discovery, the feeling that history itself has chosen this tiny object to carry its secret. Every scratch, every line, every copper glint is a testament to a moment frozen in time. And as the market has shown, collectors are willing to pay top dollar for that rare combination of history, mystery, and scarcity. It's not just a coin. It's a story, a puzzle, a chance to be part of something extraordinary. Imagine holding it in your hand. Imagine knowing that this tiny coin could outshine decades of careful collecting, a silent giant hidden among hundreds of ordinary pennies. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on any hint of this rarity. Auctions are fierce, and yet, anyone could have won without even knowing it. That's the true magic. The same coin that could be forgotten in a pocket today might be worth over $1 million tomorrow. Always check your pennies from 1984. Look for the ones without the mint mark. Compare them to regular pennies, paying attention to the subtle differences. Avoid coins that have been heavily worn or damaged, as these reduce their value significantly. And never underestimate the power of careful observation. One coin can change everything. Collectors often describe the moment they spot a rare penny as almost mystical. Heart racing, hands trembling, the realization that something ordinary could hold extraordinary value. This isn't just a coin. It's proof that the world still hides miracles in plain sight, waiting for the patient, the observant, the curious. Imagine holding a single penny in your hand, the one coin that could completely change your life. That's exactly what happened to a small group of collectors who stumbled upon a 2016 D. Lincoln penny hiding in plain sight. They never expected it would become the most sought-after coin of the decade. It all started quietly in a small, forgotten batch of pennies from the Denver Mint. One collector noticed something odd about the striking, a tiny variation almost invisible to the untrained eye. But for those who knew what to look for, this was a signal that this was no ordinary penny. It had a minting anomaly so rare that dealers were rushing to confirm its authenticity. Collectors were shocked. A penny minted in 2016, a year most people didn't think twice about, suddenly had the potential to fetch nearly $1 million. Experts who had seen thousands of coins in their careers were stunned. How could a coin so new, so ordinary, hold such unimaginable value? The secret lies in the mint mark. The D stamped on this penny carries a subtle doubling, an almost imperceptible shadow that changes everything. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Word spread quietly at first, then like wildfire. Private collectors, auction houses, and coin dealers all scrambled to track down these pennies. A single auction saw a 2016 D penny with this rare minting anomaly sell for over $1 million. People who had dismissed their pocket change as worthless suddenly realized they might be sitting on life-altering treasure. One man's story became legendary. He found a 2016 D. Lincoln penny while sorting through his change. It was bent, dull, and forgotten at the bottom of a jar. But when he examined it more closely, he noticed the tiny difference in the mint mark. He had no idea it would lead to $1 million miracle. By the time the coin sold, his life had completely changed. Collectors were left in awe. This isn't just about a coin. It's about discovery, timing, and knowing what to look for. Every detail matters. The coin's luster, the sharpness of the strike, the exact positioning of the D mint mark. These are clues most people overlook. Many attempt to sell these pennies only to have experts point out subtle flaws that devalue them. But when all the elements align perfectly, the result is breathtaking. The rarity of the 2016 D. Lincoln penny comes from a combination of minting errors, low circulation of certain batches, and a detail almost no one checks: the doubling of the mint mark. That slight doubling is invisible to casual collectors, but screams value to professionals. One glance under magnification can reveal whether your penny is ordinary or extraordinary. Hundreds of people passing by their own jars of pennies every day, unaware that the next coin they touch could be worth over $1 million. That's the power of this 2016 D-penny. It's hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone to notice, waiting for someone to realize its potential. And once they do, their lives could be changed forever. Dealers have reported frantic calls, emails, and even overnight trips to secure these pennies. The excitement is palpable. The thrill isn't just about money, it's about discovery. To hold this coin is to hold history, a piece of minting that slipped through the cracks and emerged decades later as a symbol of fortune. But you must know exactly what to look for. Look at the mint mark first. A careful, steady eye under a magnifying glass will reveal the doubling effect. Check the coin's condition. Any scratches, corrosion, or improper cleaning can reduce the value dramatically. Compare it to verified images from reputable collectors and auction records. These pennies are so rare that a misidentification could cost you millions in missed opportunity. Luster, mint mark doubling, strike clarity, and die position. Each of these factors can elevate a penny from ordinary to legendary. And with each verified sale hitting the seven-figure mark, the legend only grows. There are stories of coins changing hands multiple times before hitting auction, each time climbing in value. One coin started in a pocket, then a drawer, then a collector's album, and finally, a high-stakes auction where it sold for over $1 million. Every transfer added drama, every new owner holding their breath, wondering if this was truly the coin of a lifetime. But here's the part most people miss. It's not just about luck, it's about knowledge. Understanding minting anomalies, spotting the rare doubling, and verifying condition are the keys. The coin doesn't announce itself. It waits for someone sharp enough, curious enough, and patient enough to recognize it. And when they do, that moment is electric. Collectors were shocked to learn that even pennies from the same roll could have subtle differences. One 2016 D penny might be completely ordinary, while the next could be worth $1 million. It's a lesson in paying attention, in examining every coin, no matter how small, and the suspense doesn't end there. Each coin's story is unique. Some were found in jars untouched for decades. Others appeared in circulation, tossed casually into vending machines, or tipped at coffee shops. Each discovery reignites the excitement, reminding collectors that treasure can appear anywhere. One final discovery made headlines recently. A small batch of 2016 D. Lincoln pennies was verified to have this exact minting anomaly, and the auction world went wild. Bidders from across the country competed, some staying up all night to secure their chance at the coin. In the end, it sold for over $1 million, proving that even in modern coins, miracles happen. Focus on the mint mark first. Look closely for doubling under magnification. Examine the strike quality, the luster, and the coin's edges. Compare it against verified examples online. Avoid rushed judgments. This penny's value is in the details most people overlook. A simple 1990 D. Lincoln penny, unnoticed and ordinary to the casual eye. But what collectors discovered changed everything. This tiny piece of copper, worth just a few cents in any pocket, has the potential to transform someone's life. Imagine $1 million treasure hiding quietly among your spare change. Most people never think twice when a penny rolls across their counter. But in the rarest of cases, those pennies carry secrets that the U.S. Mint never intended. In 1990, a series of hidden minting anomalies created a small batch of Lincoln pennies that were unlike anything anyone had seen. One of these anomalies is the reason collectors are now racing to find this coin before it disappears again. It was a regular Saturday when one collector noticed something unusual in his change. A faint doubling on the date, a subtle misstrike, almost invisible to the untrained eye. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. That unassuming penny sold for a price that seemed impossible, over $1 million. Just a single coin, pocketed by an ordinary man, suddenly became $1 million miracle. Collectors were shocked. Dealers are scrambling, tracking down every roll, every bag of coins, just to see if they could spot another 1990 D with this rare anomaly. Some coins that look ordinary at first glance hold an incredible secret, and most people have no idea that their pocket change could contain such a hidden gem. the story of this penny isn't just about its monetary value. It's about history, about the strange twists and errors that create rarity. The 1990 D. Lincoln penny was struck during a time when the mint was experimenting with dies, trying to perfect the process. But in that experimentation, a handful of coins were left with unique traits that make them worth millions today. One tiny detail, a misplaced die, a doubled number, or an unusual strike, can mean the difference between a coin worth a penny and a coin worth more than a house. And it's not just the errors that make this coin so remarkable. The story of the collectors who found them is equally dramatic. Some stumbled upon these coins by accident, in piles of forgotten change. Others inherited collections, only to realize decades later that their coins were hiding unimaginable wealth. Every discovery is a shock, a life-changing moment that collectors dream about but rarely experience. This penny isn't common. It's not in every roll of coins. Finding one is like striking gold in your own backyard. One man's discovery made headlines when he realized that a penny he had casually kept in his drawer was actually worth over $1 million. Just imagine looking at a coin you've handled 1,000 times and realizing it could pay off your mortgage, fund a dream, or change your life forever. The truth is, it takes patience, knowledge, and a keen eye. You need to look at the date carefully. Examine the mint mark, the tiny D, that tells you it came from Denver. And most importantly, look for subtle doubling or misalignment in the numbers and letters. These details are often missed by the casual observer, but they are what turn an ordinary penny into a collector's dream. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on these coins, and every auction is making history. Last year alone, a handful of 1990 D pennies sold for hundreds of thousands, and some approached the $1 million mark. The excitement is palpable, the stakes enormous. One mistake in identification can mean missing out on a fortune, and one lucky discovery can mean life-changing wealth. But it's not just about money. There's an emotional thrill in holding history in your hand. This coin tells a story of the mint, of mistakes and chance, of collectors who refused to overlook the ordinary and instead found the extraordinary. And now, that story could include you. Imagine sitting at your kitchen table, sorting through a jar of change, and suddenly, a glint of copper catches your eye. You pick up a 1990 D. Lincoln penny, and something feels different. It's hard to describe, but you know it's unusual. You take it to a dealer, and the moment they examine it, you see their eyes widen. The word $1 million is whispered, and your heart races. One man's pocket change became a $1 million miracle, and that miracle could be yours. Collectors often tell stories of the first time they found one of these coins. Shock, disbelief, exhilaration, all rolled into a single moment. The thrill is almost addictive. And because the coin is so rare, it is fiercely guarded, often changing hands quietly, away from the public eye. But every once in a while, a penny surfaces, and the world is reminded that treasure can be hiding in the most unexpected places. Avoid coins that are overly worn, damaged, or heavily circulated. Focus on the details, the mint mark, the alignment, the faint doubling. Use magnification if you need to. These coins often reveal their secrets under close inspection. And trust your instincts. Collectors often report that the coins feel different, almost as if they are calling to be found. This is not a fairy tale. This is history, wrapped up in a small, unassuming coin. The 1990 D. Lincoln penny has captured the imaginations of collectors across the country. Its story is one of mystery, suspense, and unimaginable fortune. And the opportunity is still out there, in coin jars, drawers, and collections waiting to be discovered. Every coin you examine carries the potential for discovery. Every roll you search might hide a penny that could make you a millionaire. And it all comes down to patience, knowledge, and a little bit of luck. Some people spend their whole lives searching and never find one, while others stumble upon theirs without even trying. The thrill is part of the magic, the possibility that an ordinary day could become extraordinary. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. One simple coin, overlooked for decades, has the power to change a life. All it takes is a sharp eye, a little knowledge, and the willingness to look closely. Your next jar of pennies could be the key to discovering a $1 million treasure hidden in plain sight. And for one man, this ordinary penny turned into $1 million miracle. The story begins in 1979, a year when America was buzzing with change. Cars got smaller, music got louder, and a humble Lincoln penny rolled off the minting presses. But among millions of ordinary pennies, a rare few slipped through the cracks, mistakes so subtle that no one noticed for decades. No mint mark, perfectly ordinary at first glance, but hiding a flaw that would one day shock the coin-collecting world. Collectors first noticed it in the early 2000s. At first, it was dismissed as a misprint, a curiosity. But then dealers began to notice a pattern. Certain 1979 pennies, without a mint mark, were exhibiting anomalies in the metal itself. Tiny doubled dies, faint shifts in the letters, subtle variations that could make a regular penny worth a fortune. One man stumbled onto this secret purely by accident. He reached into his pocket, grabbed a handful of change, and froze. Among the clutter, there it was, the penny that would make him a millionaire. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. He took it to a local dealer, expecting maybe a few $100s at most. The dealer's face went pale. "Where did you get this?" he asked, voice barely above a whisper. In disbelief, he realized this was not just rare, it was one of the rarest pennies of the modern era. Auction houses soon caught wind, and collectors began scrambling, some traveling across the country, desperate to see this small coin that held the power of $1 million. This penny isn't flashy. It doesn't glimmer like gold, and it doesn't shine like a rare silver dollar. Its power lies in its story, in the mystery behind its production. In 1979, the mint accidentally created a tiny variation in the die that struck this penny. Most people would never notice it. Most people would toss it aside as just another penny. But for those who know where to look, it is priceless. And the excitement isn't just theoretical. There are documented sales proving it. One of these pennies sold privately for over $1 million, leaving the coin world in awe. Collectors were shocked. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on any 1979 no-mint mark pennies they can find. Ordinary pockets of change suddenly became treasure troves. A jar of pennies in your kitchen, a dusty coin collection in the attic, even loose coins on the counter. All could hide this once-in-a-lifetime find. And while millions of pennies were minted that year, only a handful carry this hidden secret. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Look closely at the letters, the Lincoln profile, and the edges of the coin. Tiny doubling or misalignment, subtle inconsistencies in the metal, they are not flaws. They are proof of rarity. One man's careful eye turned pocket change into a story that will be told for generations. And the emotional impact can't be overstated. For a collector, holding this penny is like holding history in your hand. History worth over $1 million. But the story doesn't end there. Once the secret was out, the hunt intensified. Auction houses reported feverish bidding, and ordinary collectors who had ignored their change for decades suddenly became treasure hunters. Some found multiple examples tucked away in jars. Others discovered them in coins given as change decades earlier. Every discovery reignited the thrill, and every sale confirmed the staggering value. Imagine the disbelief. A retired schoolteacher from Ohio opened a box of coins he had saved from his father. There, between a 1980 nickel and a 1978 dime, was the fabled penny. He held it in his hand, heart racing. It had the markings, the flawless detail, the no-mint mark signature that experts recognize instantly. That coin went on to sell for over $1 million. One man's pocket change had literally become a $1 million miracle. 1979. Second, check for the absence of a mint mark, the key identifier. Third, examine the die carefully. Look for doubling in the lettering, faint shifts in Lincoln's profile, and subtle anomalies in the metal surface. Many collectors miss these clues because they expect them to be obvious, but the magic is in the subtlety. The more you know, the more likely you are to spot a genuine penny before anyone else. And don't be fooled by fakes or similar-looking coins. Dealers warn that subtle differences can dramatically affect value. That's why documentation, certification, and careful inspection are critical. The coin's story, its rarity, and its flawless condition combine to create an astronomical value that ordinary pennies can never match. It's incredible to think that something so small, so seemingly insignificant, can hold such life-changing potential. A coin you pass by every day in your pocket could be the one. Every jar of pennies, every roll of change, Every drawer hiding forgotten coins might contain the treasure you never imagined. Collectors, dealers, and everyday Americans are now watching, waiting, and hoping. Will it be you who discovers the next hidden miracle? Will your casual handful of change become the next headline that shakes the coin world? One thing is certain. History has shown that the 1979 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is not just a coin. It is a story, a legend, and a chance at $1 million dream waiting to be claimed.